See, so there's a joke there.
Here's what happens, Kathy.
Yes, I was going to say, you'll get
and it'll overshoot before it goes off. So when it came on, it was 67. Now it's 69. It feels hot. But they'll be cut down in a moment.
On the Friday night class. I think it's Friday night traffic. Those who don't get off to 5, some told me 5:30. But no problem, we'll get going. Woo. And yeah, girl, I know Cassie. I hear you, girl.
Yeah.
Bishop, what?
Just a moment.
Yes, we know.
Yeah.
That's a bishop's.
You want me to come phase?
No, I'm fine.
So if you don't hit her with it, you hit her, then be a fanfare.
Amen. You who are, can they hear me online?
Yes.
You who are listening online, if you would weigh in using the Q&A.
No, question.
The chat. So that Sandy, who is monitoring, knows you can hear me. Just say hello, yes, anything you want. Amen. Hey, Pastor Jonathan. Jonathan, I didn't know you come tonight. So that's hallelujah. All right, great. That's thanks, buddy. We call each other.
We have a new cover. Go back.
Who are you talking to?
What, Bishop?
Positive design.
But where is it? What are you?
I don't know why he had it up there.
I think it's back.
We have a new cover.
I know, but what are you saying?
He had it up there.
Oh, did you have Power Positive Desire up on the screen?
It probably came out from the.
Oh, this is my computer. Hallelujah, went off. Praise God. Good evening. Happy Friday.
Yay!
Hallelujah.
Just think, we're only 2 days away from Monday.
Every party has a pooper. That's why we invited you. Hallelujah. Who has a song on their heart? What kind of song you have on your heart? Anyone have a song? Mm-hmm. Okay, as long as it's not too worshipful, because then people never do get back to serious, you know? They get lost in the Holy Ghost.
Well, then I can sing my voice.
I'm only kidding. What you got on your heart?
Lord, I give you my heart.
Sure, that's good.
I give you my soul. I live for you alone. Every breath that I take, the moment I wake. Lord, have your way.
My desire, dun, 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 dun. This is my
desire
to honor
you. All I have with me, I shall give to you.
No, we've massacred the song. Yeah. Okay, Lord, sorry. We really didn't mean to massacre our worship to you. We really love you, God. And we are so grateful for another time to be together for one another, Lord. And you know, there's a song in our hearts, God, even if we can't quite get it out of our lips with all the words, we all have that song in our heart. Just who started us out. And that is, we want to give you our everything. We give you our lives. We give you our hearts. We've already given you our hearts, and now we're trying to give you our skills and our minds and all that you can use for the kingdom. Just like you transformed our lives. Some of us were so pitiful, but you can transform every area of our brain, any area where we're not quite sure about how this thing works, any area where we're still struggling, we give it all to you and we allow you, hallelujah, Lord, to receive glory in our lives. Thanks for trusting us with the message of the gospel. Thanks for letting us partner with you. Thank you for believing in us more than we ever have believed in ourselves. So we say we're going to do our best, God, and we love you so much. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Oh, praise God. I love it. Hallelujah. This evening, hope everyone had a great day. We're missing a few of our in-class students because they have a service or something going on. And so our online crew is online and they're doing fine. And I understand they can hear me okay. So I'd like to ask you guys a question, just kind of a warm up. Let's have some review from last night. Either something maybe if you didn't learn it, something you want to say about last night at all, or comments from last night. Just weigh in, just jump in. Go ahead, Red Patty.
I enjoyed it all. I got some good notes, so I have good direction to go.
Oh, did you get some good notes?
Yeah,
Praise God.
Just the ideas that you guys came up with.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to put them down on paper somewhere on your computer.
Now, she said something you could hear online. She said, just some of the ideas you guys came up with. Remember when I said it a couple times and I'll say it again. These sessions for me are most valuable if they're collegial or if we network because we give each other ideas. The how-tos, even though I know it's hard for most of you to believe it, are really not what we glean from these sessions because the how-tos change so quickly it's not even funny, but it's the idea. Once we get our brains around those things, we're good to go. So, okay. What'd you say, sweetie? Yes, that's right. We get to choose what will work. Everyone's not going to be everything, but we're overviewing. Bishop LaDonna.
I enjoyed the review on the Bible app. Yes, because we use it, and we use it in the ways we get into our routines. But last night when I went home, I just went again to peruse, and I ran out of time before I even got to all of the things that are there as resources. And I'm thinking about ministry. So it's, you try to witness to somebody or you're trying to help someone with a particular need, and you can't always buy books for everybody.
Right.
It's expensive. Everybody's not a reader. There are so many of these that talk to them, that are systematic, that get them in the routine of some kind of instruction that guide their search and their faith. And I just got carried away looking at all of the opportunities that are there to share the Bible in myriad ways.
That's right. Praise God. And remember, this is what this class is about. This is a class for people who are interested in using the internet and social media for ministry. Although we can glean from other settings, we are primarily talking about ministry uses. And as I said, bouncing off of one another. That's the greatest gift. If I could give you one gift, that would be it. And that is the ability to network with one another, because we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And that means everything we need to know, we have the mind of Christ. We can pull off a lot of stuff. We really can. All right. Another review. Dr. John, my buddy.
I enjoyed the texting service.
Okay.
You could text different people and get them to, with a surprise gift or something.
Yeah.
That gets them to register.
Yes. Using that texting, Bishop was talking about, Red Patty was talking about just general stuff, bouncing off. Bishop talked about the Bible app, the U-version. Now, Dr. Joni is talking about when we learned a little bit about texting. And I told you this is a survey course. If you don't know what that means, you do know now. It means that we're going to do a lot of overview. And then if you want to go deeper, fine. But you all were there was a few areas as I went over this material last night that you all wanted to know, or a percentage you wanted to know. For the most part, we're all over the board. So we're going to do a whole bunch of general, pique your interest info. And tomorrow we'll do a lot on social networking. But in reality, we're very different. Our needs are different, or our desires are different. So this is a survey class. We're going to try to serve a bit of everything. So thanks, Dr. Jones. Who else? Anyone else? Or any online people, if you weigh in, Sandy will tell us if there's anything you want to say. Reverend Maurice, I know you can hear me. Still online last night when I noticed your comment. You asked a question about your coming meeting. Would you please let us know by typing you heard me respond to you. All right? Who else while she's doing that? Who else has something to say? This is just review from last night. Comments or review from last night that you want. Okay. My buddy. Amen. Any other comments or review from last night? Oh, go ahead, sweetie.
I liked what Bishop LaDonna had to say about ministries, international, and ORU.
Okay. Very good. Excellent, girl. Good. Yeah.
Marie said she feels smarter, and yes, she did hear your response.
Thank you, Reverend Brown. My buddy. She would not tell you if I did anything bad. You know, this is not a class on, this is a class on internet and social networking, but I do have a word to say after many years, some more than you all, and that is, you have good friends in life. See, Marie wouldn't say anything negative. If she thought it was horrible, she wouldn't say it. She, oh, this is great, you know. And so she's gonna make me look good. So have good friends in your life. That's important. All right. Anyone else review from last night, or questions or impressions, anything at all from last night, which was very introductory? Yes, lovely.
I just like the fact that because I'm older, it's been a hard transition to go from paper to this.
Yes.
But last night, several things that you said just made it easier to transition into
Oh,
this.
hallelujah. That's so encouraging. That was Diane Bell, the great. And she said, because she's so old, she's not that old. How old are you, Diane?
I'm 74.
74. And a half. Well, honey, a lot of people. So Diane said,
Once you pass 7, you count
spoken by a man who knows, right?
You know what? There's a lot of older people in this place. That should
Probably
say
younger
something.
too. I mean, we've got a nice mix, but yeah,
You
you're right,
expect younger
Bishop.
people.
Yeah. No, I actually expect older people. I think younger people who grew up with this technology don't, well, it's not so much they know it, the learning method is a classroom setting, you know? And so I'm 55, so I'm kind of at the bottom of that curve. Our primary learning method for new things is still, or was anyhow, the classroom setting. We like this, you know, so praise God. In fact, I'll tell you.
Automatically, no matter what. It's been good to have our grandson with us.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said, when we said we were going, he just asked me.
and Diane, and we always tell people in ministry or whatever, make sure you have some younger people on your team. The problem with that, and you can tell them, we do ask you to explain the way that we get it. Yeah. So you know how to do it, but you get impatient with us. Sandy.
Marie says she saw ways that she could reach more than one generation at the same time.
Yes.
Right.
New ways not to overstress to do
them. Good. And we're going to talk more about that because a couple of you on your indicating, you know, which group navigate toward, gravitates toward which social network. I got Steve.
Well, Diane made a comment about YouTube, and unfortunately, too many people look at YouTube or anything on the internet as being an authority. Just because and they believe what they see, and it may be accurate, it may not.
But that's the same thing with anything else. I'll tell you.
You mean it's history, right?
Yeah. But no, really, yeah, and that's one of the things, you know, we may talk about as we discuss, but really, and so you have to learn how to discern, how to look through. But YouTube is a wonderful tool because at least you're not paying any, you haven't lost a penny, okay?
Several years ago, they had a Chevy Impala commercial on TV. They asked people, "What do you think this car is worth?" You know, people come up with all these numbers, and about $60,000. They said, "Well, this is a Chevy Impala. It starts off at $35,000. But if you read the fine print on the commercial, it's 50 cents."
So
it was a $60,000.
There you go, right there. Amen. Good. Anyone else review or comment tonight? Yes, Bob.
I concur with what Joey said. started using it in modern stuff. And so that texting tool, what you call it, you have to text.
Yes, bro, yeah.
So I can see where our family could use that.
Yep, very, very good. Excellent, excellent, good. Anyone else want to give you time? Because our interaction is important. Yes, love.
I like what you said about always use an interpreter.
Woo! Listen, that is so key. And I came up with it last night. It'll be the title too, all you need is an interpreter.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel confident. That's where I feel confident because I'm about in the middle of what I'm going to call the learner. Listen, most of you know I take great pride in my education and my background. There is one class I ever failed in life, and it was a typing class. The second class, I have, of my 4 degrees, I'm telling you, there's only one class I've ever failed. The only other class that I got a C in, everything else in my whole career is A and B, was computers. So I said I'm kind of like a perfect in-between person because I've had to use the material and adapt enough to I kind of know what I'm doing, but I'm old enough to I remember everything else. And so that interpreter is key. And it doesn't have to necessarily be me. Bishop did some, but if there's nothing new under the sun, So if you can get someone to parallel it to something you relate to, then it's like, oh, I get it. And that's the deal. The devil would love to and intimidate, you can't do this, to shut down, or it's too late to learn. That's how you notice how I prayed last night, and I handled that spirit of fear, etc., because it does come, and he would love to just help us feel stalled when all this stuff is really not that difficult. Amen. All right, Joan, one more.
The tech suit.
Yes.
That was so interesting for nonprofits.
Yeah, tech soup, that's the thing. So for even tonight, I'm still kind of just hitting all over general stuff, questions that you guys had here. And then tomorrow we'll hit a lot, I think, on social. We'll see how we do tonight. Maybe a lot on social networking. Great. Anyone else? I don't want to cut off before we go further. Yes, love.
Reverend Ross is saying that the voices are choppy coming in and out.
Okay. Ask her if that's Pastor Ross is me or the others. And we'll find out. Because remember, I told you last night to not get too comfortable. These are online all over, from Nigeria to Broken Arrow. So we do probably need to be more distinct in our speech, especially if you're asking a question. I'll try to remember to repeat. Okay, praise God. All right. So, yes.
Is anyone connected to it? Anyone in the
Oh yeah, if anyone using our Wi-Fi and you're on now, we need you to get off, right?
No, like is anyone live in the class at the same time they have it open on their
That's what I'm saying. Is anyone following us now, right? You're saying?
Yes.
Because we need you to shut down.
Should we just turn the Wi-Fi off? Is that what?
No, he doesn't mind that. Is you can't be on. We want to make sure you're not on the webinar.
Yeah. We can use the internet, just make sure you're not streaming.
Okay. Yes, dear.
And you and choppy.
Okay, so we're all sounding choppy. I'm sorry. We'll try not to be choppy. We'll do our best to not be choppy. Praise God. All right, praise the Lord. Let's keep going, and Pastor Roz, I'll do my best. I don't know. Hopefully this isn't too choppy. Listen, last night, Bishop, before we go further. Last night, Bishop and Sandy gave you all some general announcements, and I want to remind everyone that's here, this is a WIN class. I may not be the normal WIN instructor, and I'm saying that because we have other classes coming up that are just wonderful. There's a February class with Bishop, and I've already seen her material, from the syllabus, the books, etc. My style in a class like this is to kind of have a plan, not give out handouts, because again, this is a preference. I think when people write, internalize. So I don't give handouts, but I'm saying this to say, if it's fast, I don't want you to think every instructor is like me. Most of our instructors, Bishop and others, and they have wonderful have a syllabus they can give you. They have an outline. They have a bibliography. This is a class on social networking and internet. So I'm going with that. There's pieces of paper up here if you want them, you're welcome. But in general, you're going to have a different structure with me. So I encourage you, we have materials here. I'll show you at a break maybe. But the Women's International Network is more than this type of setting. So I want you to really look at the other classes for the year and go from there. All right. So yes, Pastor Kathy Smith.
I'm specifically here because you're teaching it.
That's right, my friend.
And I like your teaching style a lot. And so
Excellent.
I always try to go to your classes. And I like the fact that there's diversity because different people have different teaching styles. And
Right.
that's part of what I love about the WIN meetings.
Yeah, give that lady a cookie. Go out there. Man, Pastor Kathy drives. She drives all the way from Louisiana to hang out with us. Okay, all right. Let's continue on this general topic of internet resources that can help grow, expand, improve, or launch your ministry. Now, I see 7 of you are online following us. And again, I hope I'm not too choppy. I want to remind you, we're going to talk about what a webinar is in a minute, but you who are online, I want to remind you, this is a webinar. This is different than the platform we used the last time. So what you are seeing is what the class is seeing, which is the screen of my computer, which are the overview of the class. You will not see me, you won't see people in the classroom. So there's nothing wrong with your computer. That was a concern. It's audio only, no video, and you're seeing your screen. In fact, you're seeing it more clearly than those in the classroom here. So we want to continue with this idea of more internet resources that can help grow or expand or improve or launch your ministry. Oh, and remember, I told you all, when this is over, I will send you a PDF of these slides if that will help you with internet connections. Like we saw, the link will be there when I give it to you. Okay, so there's a couple of them. Now, a couple of these are based kind of on ask the questions on your green sheets or in desperation via text. Let's talk about cloud. Again, this is still real. Some of this will interest you. If it doesn't, sleep for 5 minutes and the next topic might interest you. Some of you have asked about the cloud. What is the cloud? You hear about the cloud and you want to know a little more about it and how or why it would be useful for ministry purposes. Okay, you had a question?
No, you asked what was the cloud. I was just going to answer.
No, I wasn't asking for it. The people have asked, you know. Definition. Storing and accessing data and programs over the internet instead of your computer's hard drive. That's there, and that should be in on your screen, internet attendees, online attendees, and when you get the handouts, you'll get it. So they're here, which again, I don't know how clear it is to you who are in class, but cloud storage. It's kind of pretty much like it says. Does anyone know who has science background? Does anyone know how we get rain? How we get rain?
Moisture collects around particles in the air, reaches a certain weight, and it drops.
Moistures collect around particles in the air. When it reaches a certain weight, what went up comes down. Cloud. So you have a collect. This is videos, music, your documents, the stuff that's on your computer. It says contacts, files, pictures, you name it. And when people talk about using the cloud, is you can store it there. I'm saying there because that's what they call it, a cloud. And when you're ready for it, kind of like rain, it can be, it comes back to you. You can have access to it. Now, an example of cloud, again, some of you may already know this, so just chill out for a minute. An example of cloud stuff, I have here my phone, iPhone. Okay, I'm an Apple woman. In my office, I have my iPad. I also have a Mac, a big computer, and now I'm using this laptop. When I completed these slides you all are looking at now, when I got ready to save them, I saved them to the cloud. I think there are lots of clouds. We always say the cloud, you know. I know that, I'm just laughing with you guys. I saved it to the cloud. Now, last night I stayed about to 10:30, worked on the lessons a little bit, saved it on my computer in the cloud. I got home, took a shower, ran my mouth with my husband, and then opened up my iPad and went over those same notes I just saved on my computer in my office. Okay, because they were now, because I had stored them in the cloud. Okay, had to go to Bartlesville this afternoon, didn't want to take the iPad, it was too big. I had my phone, I opened up the same notes on my phone. Okay, and now the same notes that I started last night, worked on more when I got home, messed with in my car. You're looking on your screen at someone else's laptop because of the cloud. So again, who said it? All you need is an interpreter. If you know science, you can figure out the cloud. Whatever, as Dick and Steve said, whatever, because of particles of moisture in the air, it goes up and then it's there, and at some point it'll come back down. With computing, you get to call it back down. Now that's the big picture of cloud. Now, you can get clouds in different places. What I was talking about is my cloud that I get through my subscription as an Apple user, I guess. You can buy cloud spaces, lots of places, but that's the general technology of clouds. Now, does anyone have any questions? I don't need to overcomplicate it if you don't want me to. Go ahead.
I was going to say Google, Dropbox, Google Drive, iCloud. That's what all sorts of others use.
There's many clouds. That's why I said there's lots of clouds.
Right. I mean, I can use my browser here on my tablet. I can log in with my phone and get the same, you know, it's got my login information, so I can remember all my passwords.
Sure.
I can go back into my house and log into, and it stores it on its own hard drive space up there, and just grab it where I need.
You know, as he said, up there. Where? It's a cloud, Johnny.
It's somewhere out there.
It's out there.
But with one of these, say you store it on a different cloud, how do you find it?
You'll know what cloud you stored it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have an address for my cloud, unlike these clouds out here. I have an address for my cloud, and I have a password, and I can lay into that cloud anywhere. Not unless they know my information, which can be a problem, but we're not talking negatively, right? Patty?
Okay, so you created whatever it was this thing is that you got there, created it in some program that's on your computer.
Correct.
What program created it?
This was a Keynote or PowerPoint.
And then how do you, so then don't you have to have Keynote on your phone like an app?
That's why I said whatever, and I want to use good words. If anyone has a better terminology, don't make it more complicated than me, make it do better. Whatever service, whatever cloud service I'm using, when I started, I already put all those together. So for example, you know, Red Patty, remember, talked me into the Mac environment. And so when that happened, I went to the Apple store and went through the first class, and they set me up. Okay, these are called iCloud calls. And I said, oh yeah, great. And they said, what do you want to call, what's your Apple ID? They gave me information. I signed in. Now, would you like a password, whatever? And they said, therefore, everything that's on your original Mac, in that case, it was Pages, Keynote, you know, whatever the programs on the Mac are, now you can have these on your other devices.
So when you put them all together, do those apps just show up on your phone?
They, because of the way I set it up when I first purchased it, they all sync. So I don't have to do anything. I'm typing in Pages Sunday morning, and then I move from the computer, I walk out to the center, and I open Pages. So the initial setup is what you're looking at. Your initial setup.
Could I add?
Yeah, if you can say it simpler. Hold on. I'll be able to say it simpler. You have a simpler way?
I have an old-fashioned example that might be easy.
Okay, and then Bishop, I'm coming to you.
Remember the days when we had answering machines? You could call the answering machine from any phone, anywhere in the world, and you had to look beep, beep, and listen to your messages. Okay, as long as you had something that could access that answering machine, you could get your messages off. It's the same way with this. It doesn't matter what device you have. If it has the same beep as your answering machine, you can use it anywhere.
All right, Bishop, now you go. Let's keep going till we get it. This is fun.
Well, I was going to speak specifically to like Keynote. If you're in an Apple environment and you create a presentation, but you want it with you, you create it. Keynote is a software package that is available, very, very reasonable for your Mac. For your phone or your iPad, it becomes a piece of software. You get it from the App Store. It's even cheaper. And so you put the apps on your mobile devices, you get the software for your computer. But as soon as you get a Mac computer, they're going to introduce you to the cloud so that everything on your computer is backed up. You don't lose any of your data. So, but how you access it is how you set it up.
And that's why I said everything is key is when you decide on a cloud, and you got to find out what cloud you're using.
When I put Keynote on this, when I buy a little app and put the thing on there, then I open up anytime I open that up, the same thing, once I have it all connected.
Once you have it all
This
connected.
is what you do, and I do this every time that I have a sermon that I have on my iPad or a presentation. I create it on my computer in one of these software. But then I load it into iCloud. It just because it's backing it up. You see what I was showing you earlier? It's automatically distributing as your contacts, your email, your calendar. That's the only thing that's happening automatically among your devices when each is set to iCloud. It's backing it all up, sharing data. When you go into an environment of a software or an app, you're intentionally, I want that one file over on my iPad. So you open up iCloud.com, put in your password, and then you drag that file over to the iCloud little folder that says whether it's Keynote or Pages, whatever you're using. Then you go to your device, open up that app, and it'll sync automatically.
Now,
so is that process.
There's another question. Now, realize she's talking we're talking a very limited part of a cloud service. I was trying to keep it bigger, but the general concept is you're storing and accessing your data over the internet instead of your computer hard drive. You know what it means to save something on the computer, right? And you go back and find it. Oh, there it is. Now you're saving it in a cloud so you can find it from someplace else. So, yes, dear. Okay.
Marie says, have to have the right apps on all devices. Like she said, I had to download Zoom in order to join this webinar.
Yes, and I didn't want to complicate us too much because the reason I said set up is where you decide which cloud are you getting. I'm going to put it like that. What's the address I'm going to be? Let me give you an example. Where's Reverend Walter Wuvala? Okay. What method do we use to back up our computers?
Use
Carbonite. Okay, now that's something completely different. It's still a cloud-based environment. But what does it do, Rev Walter? Come closer so they can hear you. Maybe this will make sense.
Every file, whatever we do on a computer, the moment we start up the file, it stores every file on a storage somewhere, not in this building, So it is called cloud because you don't see it, you know it's there somewhere. So I think they give you trust is there, and so they give you the name cloud. So we don't even know where it's at, but it's very safe because in case of anything, you can always have every file back.
See, so that's the method we use for backing up all of our church database. That's different than me. Me is shy. I want to get to my personal things. And so I use my cloud app. I'm happy. But our church database is more than that. It's our accounting. It's our legal paperwork. So we make sure each of our computers has a backup. We don't even know it's there. But instead of it just being a hard drive, because what happens? When something gets stolen, everything gets stolen. When there's a crash, there's a crash. If there's a fire, there's a fire. So having a piece of equipment sitting next to this is no help if it's getting stolen or whatever. That's nice if only that gets in trouble. And so that's what Carbonite is a very popular service. You pay for it. Buy storage. Thank you. Now, hold on. I saw another hand before that. Let's keep going on the cloud. Who had another hand? Okay, Red Patty.
Well, I just want to say I'm glad I don't smoke marijuana anymore.
That's where the term cloud.
Now I've always been accused of being a big picture person, which is why I think I'm good for these classes, because there's several people weighed in and started getting more exact about apps, etc. I wouldn't go that far. I was just in general say the idea of the cloud is that there's a place off-site in the heavens where material can be stored, and depending on your needs, then we hone in and decide how that's going to work. That is what, because a couple of you said, not a lot, what is the cloud? You know, and I asked that question. I was telling Patty, remembered one of our ministers, he's with the Lord now. You know, we were getting out of the Windows environment, became Mac people, and his name is Alex. Some of you remember our dear brother Alex. He was like a son to me. He's with the Lord now. But I would always say to him, like I do to all these young people, talk to me like your grandmother. He never could get me straight on that. But you know what I told you last night? I learned to do ask. I took my little receipt from that, whatever, however many $1,000 that computer cost. I went to the Apple store. I didn't know they had classes. Now, you know, you can go for free classes, but I just thought, I'm gonna show them I bought a computer here. I went in and said, what is the cloud? I said, just like that. And there was a woman working there. She was in her 60s and she laughed. She said, sit down, let me tell you. And then showed me and set me up. And I was like, I've been talking to Alex 3 days, honey, and you got it in 10 minutes. Thank you. And she said a little bit of what I said earlier. She says, you know, you just got to have an interpreter. And so, but then she helped me through mine. So each would be a little different. Okay. Anything else on the cloud? Remember, we're just doing general stuff.
Generally speaking, because you talk about in case of fire or theft, stuff is gone. Well, your cloud services like Carbonite or backup servers, all of them that duplicate each other. So if there were an earthquake in California, the servers in New York have got the same data. So it's very safe. This is multiple locations. The same data is backed up in the cloud.
And of course, remember this, don't be goofy, you get what you pay for. Carbonite is one of the most expensive storage, cloud-based storage platforms there is. We pay for it. And you know where your ministry is, but we have to have access to that material. We have to. We cannot be shut down. I mean, it can close the ministry down. This is a class on ministry, and several of you are at different stages in your ministry, a younger ministry, or older ministry. But when you get to where we are and all the legal complications we have students or workers with us who are working on a work visa, et cetera. I have to be able to access stuff when I need it. So this building, God forbid, the ground opened up and this building disappeared, I have got to be able to get to his records. And so you get what you pay for. So Carbonite's not cheap, but it's worth it for us. Now, remember, this is about a ministry class. So one of the questions or the comment I said, the ways that these internet sources can help or grow and expand, improve, or launch your ministry. A little application here. Application is, I suggest every ministry have some type of cloud-based storage for material that you have shared in a way of preaching or teaching. Do you know how vital the word of God is? Oh my God. So vital. And sometimes we're sloppy with our notes, sloppy with revelation the Lord has given to us, sloppy with direction that he's given to us, you know, and we write it on a piece of paper or write it on a napkin or something. That's okay to start with, but make sure that things that are vital are in a place where they are safe. We are stewards of the word of God. And the word of God is more than someone up there preaching on a Sunday morning. He's asked you to do. So this is very important. So this is not just an internet class. What's the cloud? We're reminding you. And you notice on my little thing here, which no, you all can't see, there's videos. We've talked about data. There's music, videos, pictures, so important. I told this story. Where did I tell the OBD story? It was in Stafford. Okay, so Sister Legina and Walter know this. Our precious friends, Bishop leaves in the morning to Kenya. Most of you know it. In fact, before we go tonight, I want to pray for her. And she's on her way to Liberia, but she's leaving early. Our precious, precious friends, Silas Owedi, Archbishop Silas Owedi has gone to heaven. And he has been a friend of the Osborne Ministries for 50 plus years. He is the man that chaired all of the East Africa Osborne Crusades. He built the large indigenous work nation in all of East Africa. Just a giant, a wonderful friend. I can't tell you how much a friend of this ministry, ordained through us. He has gone to heaven. He's 91. It's a time. His wife, Archbishop Winnie Owedi, called to us because they had a fire at their house some years ago, and all of their pictures, certificates were burned. Everything was lost. Now, here he is getting ready for the homecoming. And because he's a man of consequence, on it was after BBC, they were announcing his death. The government, he served in the government, was familiar and served kind of like a Billy Graham to all of the prime ministers, the presidents of the nation. He was a real, so now, of course, they're looking for that so they can report on TV and they can do things, and they've asked her, and she feels horrible because they have nothing. So she called us. Within 10 minutes, how many pictures and things did you have? At all. You know where to get it. So material goes beyond just written stuff. You know, you put things in the cloud like videos, photography, that will serve them. So I'm saying the application for ministry, we're talking about that not just because people ask what is the cloud. I can't encourage you enough. You value the word of God, and the word of God is more than the Bible. It is the word of God, but it's what he's saying to us. So always value the given or the given or what he's trusted you with. And so cloud storage is one way to do that. Anything else? Yes, speak up.
Something last, a shift in, it does happen, just being in an environment like this, talking and listening. But this example you've just given, we from the filing cabinet mentality to an internet storage mentality. And I can't remember the last time I put anything in my physical file. Entire rooms of files, but they become all archival because all the files are on a computer that's backed up in the cloud. So it's accessible. I don't have to, wherever I'm in the world, I can access. And it just, so it's a different way of thinking. I used to print out everything just to be sure it was saved. I'd save it on the computer, but then I'd print it out and put it in my file. Gradually, because I was busy, I stopped doing it. Now I laugh at that process, but it was just a stage and adjusting to a new method of being productive.
Amen. Good, John.
Now in the cloud, can let's say it's like all the programs that have on your
not necessarily.
And
it's
your
your
websites and
it's your data. So not. I mean, we have a way that he can recreate any of our computers dies. He can come from the cloud and he can recreate the next computer. You don't know that you're at a computer. So it has all your bookmarks, everything.
Because I do taxes and accounting, and I have all these tax and accounting programs. Can I put them on?
I understand what you're saying. Mostly, unless you have the big bucks, you're saving your data. And then when it's time to get at them, you go back to the accounting program. So you use Quicken or QuickBooks. So it's not saving that necessarily, it's saving your data, but then you go to another computer that you don't. Now you can, but in general, you don't need to pay for that much storage. Yeah.
Yes, she can do it like you said, that it's more.
Yeah, it's more money. No need to pay for it because you just go to the next person who has QuickBooks and open up your same data. See? So it's the data we're really I understand. Well, see where it says storing and accessing data and programs. So yes, but you're paying for what you store. Interpreter. All you need is an interpreter. All you need is an interpreter. Up here at 3rd and Memorial, there's a place we stored stuff for so long off-site, right? And we had all the Christmas stuff and all that stuff in there. And I said to Rev Walter, how much is that a month? We're paying $58 a month. That is a waste of money because of how we had that stuff stored in those boxes. Get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this, move that stuff on site. So yeah, we could have taken up the whole place. They'd be glad to have our money. But I realized, no, let's cut down what we need to store. Okay? Yes, here's one.
Like go to U-Haul storage, you buy this place where they got a garage thing.
Exactly.
So that's your storage. Then you can put filing cabinets inside the storage building, your files. So that'd be like the cloud, right? So we got the garage, which is carbonite, right? And then you put your filing cabinets inside the.
That's one way to look at it. It's off-site storage.
Anytime you want to get into those files, you can walk in there and get them. Sure. Or if you happen to, if those files.
No, you're on the right page. That's all it is off-site storage. And you pay for how much you store.
But the carbonite thing that's the protection.
Yes.
If your files go away, the protection's still gonna be there to get
That's
those
correct.
games on.
And that's where the physical parallel.
See,
Okay.
I've had carbonite for probably 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had to use it because I lost a computer. But it's like having insurance. You hope you never have to use it.
Good example.
But I've had to retrieve from iCloud for my devices every time I change a device. I depend on the data that's in the iCloud.
Yep. So again, if you need more, I don't want to spend too much time because I want you to get a general picture, but it could easily be explained and we could go further with that. Good. All right. Let's go to more. Oh, I know what I was saying. I was making the application of why you need storage. So I'm reminding you in ministry to not just store data, but store, written data, but videos. If any of you are a musician or have any creativity, I have a couple graphic designers, also musicians here. Think of a way, if you're creative, that you can access. That's your artwork. That's your expression of yourself. And to have it just in your home or something like that is wonderful. But God forbid, remember there's an enemy who's out to steal, kill, and destroy. So you want to have access to that. Sometimes you work on stuff for anybody creative here, you know what I mean? You work on compositions, you work on something. And it really is something God has given you. And God forbid you have a fire or something and it's gone. But if you have a method, and the cloud is one of those methods. So I encourage on that. Okay, let's go to our next internet resource. This is so obvious, but it can't be too obvious because some of you actually want to know more about websites. This one is our ministry website. Remember, we're in the category internet resources that to grow, expand, improve, or launch your ministry. Because last night we determined everyone's at a different place here in their ministry. So we want to talk about ministry. We talked about 5 or 6 things last night. Now let's go to ministry websites. And I have a question for you guys on ministry website. Anybody a good writer, got good handwriting? Come and scribe for me, somebody, anybody. Oh, Diane, he's been volunteering you. Come on, Diane.
You've been volunteering.
Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind, Diane, we'll just bring this up closer where everyone can see it. You're going to scribe this side. Sure. Side. The whiteboard side. Right? Yes, not that one. Anything that's there. Okay. Here's my question on ministry websites. Ministry websites. Start to think about ministry websites you may frequent. Everyone does know what a website is. On that, we're good. Okay. Now we're thinking ministry websites. I want you to think about ministry websites you may frequent. I don't know. In other words, you go. Could be our church. Could be, I don't know what you all looking at ministry websites. Think of that. Now, what Diane is going to write down is why do you keep going back to that website? What is it that gets you that you like? I could ask you the same thing if it was a certain restaurant. Why do you keep going back? Okay. Yes.
Good content.
Okay. Content, okay. Think of some of your websites. What impresses you about them? Or why do you keep Deke?
Ease of use.
Okay. Hold on. Ease of use. Deacon Corey? Okay. While she's writing, you said action and activity. Talk to me a little more about that, Deacon Corey. What's that mean?
Well, it's like the difference in looking at a black and white TV and color TV.
Oh, I see. Okay. Got you.
Something that's going on. Most websites that are interactive, if they're pretty good, they've got some action going on somewhere. They're scrolling things across
something
that give you a different picture, okay. Where you're not having to hunt and click for everything.
Got you. That makes sense. I got you now. Okay. What else do you like on ministry websites? Yes, Bob. Simplicity. Oh my God. I hear it. Simple. Yeah. What'd you say, sweetie? Ease of use. Okay. And remember, we're going to go back to these because we're making our own personal. So go ahead, love.
What I like is that they have the different types of messages already on there. So you can just scroll through.
Okay.
Pick one you like.
So when you say messages, you mean like maybe that the person preached, like say, okay. And that goes along with content. Say ministry messages. And this is important, very important, because I'm gonna come back to that. It kind of fits in content. Yes?
I think it's important to have it able to be accessed on mobile because more of mobile generation.
Okay, now that was Anna, in case you didn't hear our online students, she said it needs to be mobile. Now what she means by that, and she explained it, but in case you couldn't hear, have you ever gone to a site on your computer and it's so wonderful, but then by the time you try to go to it on your phone, which is what happened, I think what was the statistic, like 85% of websites are accessed on mobile phones now. Then all of a sudden it's all scrambled. You can't figure out what's going on, and it didn't. Okay, so that's excellent.
It's called responsive design.
Responsive design. What else do you like about ministry websites? Can you think of one you frequent? Yes?
Online.
Okay, what do you like about it? Why do you frequent? Teaching. Okay, so that goes with teaching, yeah. That's kind of like Sister Teresa was talking about the messages. What else?
You know, I like to add it, even though you don't have like an app for it. There's a little thing on there that you can add it to your home screen. Then you can get to try to look it up and find the right one that you grabbed last time.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Anything else that you all want to say? Because we're going to discuss this, but I want you to think about why it is that particular website I hope you had in mind. I mean, you're Christians, so I certainly hope that you have ministry websites you frequent. I'm not going to ask who does, you just talk, but I'm assuming your answer was based on that you had something in mind. Okay. Anything else that you can think of why? Okay, Sandy?
Something about personality.
Because
I'm thinking of the Win website. So not only do you learn about the classes, you learn about the instructors.
Okay.
There's information.
Okay. We'll use your word personality. That's fine. Bishop?
I like websites that have an account option.
Okay.
So they remember who I am, remember what I've done. I don't have to start all over. I just like the welcome back.
Okay, so that familiarity, that welcome back, so it has an account, so it remembers who she is. She's going a little bit deeper now, and what she has to offer. Broger, you and next. Clear message. Now remember, my question had to do with ministry websites, which is, hey, Mary, I call you Mary. I'm thinking on Facebook. Kayleen said information current. Okay, now that's good. Let's stop there. Give Diane a break. Thank you, Diane. Beautiful. Let's give her a hand. Very nice. She's getting happy over there with that stuff. That stuff's making me happy. First, again, let's talk, and we'll come back to this list. On the screen, you see a few words. Ministry websites are your face to the world. To the world. How many of you have ministry websites or business websites now? Okay. It is your face to the world. I could say it 20 times. When my dear sister Kayleen talked about things being outdated. I don't know if this bothers you, but have you ever gone by a church that has a beautiful marquee or a board? And today is what? January 26th. And the board says, join us for our children's Christmas program. And immediately, of course, everyone's different. Immediately, I say, that's a church that either is too lazy to update or they haven't realized the difference. Same thing on the church answering machine. Did you change that? No, when our power went out, it defaults to another. So here, Rev. Andrea changes the church answering voice message every month. We change it the first of every month. But something happened, power went out some time ago, and we didn't realize it had defaulted to something in the summer. So someone called me and said it's talking about Mad Camp. So we had gotten rid of that a long time ago. And I finally talked to the guy, and he says that's a particular problem. But your face to the world, talking about men's websites. This is your face to the world. This is what people will see 90% of them before they meet you. So there's some things we're going to talk about based on this list here. Also, I've said here, it's often your first impression. I can't say this enough because let me tell you what happens with technology. I'm going to tell you what happens. People get excited and they buy into something. Like they say, oh, I got to have a website. And they go get a website. And they get overwhelmed with whatever they're doing and they don't do anything with the website. Like Kayleen said, it's not updated, but it just starts to look old, or you haven't done anything to fix it, or like you had a section, like you were working with a web designer. You're so excited, right? Our ministry is now going to have a website. And you got past the first 2 pages. And they said, give us some pictures. You put some pictures in there and tell us your vision. You got that in there. And then there's a section that says you're going to be able to take prayer requests. And so the web designer, the person you're working with, says, okay, you want prayer requests? You said, yeah, but I'm not sure what email address I want that to come to yet. So I'll tell you later. So they put up a sign that says under construction. Have you ever seen this on a web page? 3 years later, it's still under construction. This says to the world that is coming to your website, number one, they don't care about me. Number two, they are sloppy. They're just sloppy. And so remember, it can be a first impression. And the last word I put here is letter. And what I mean is when you get ready to design a website, it could be a 20,000 page website. You can do it. Again, money answers all things. You can buy anything. But to start with, less is better. Maybe 3 points. Who we are, what we're doing, prayer requests. Again, we're from all different walks. So some of us are pastors, some are churches, some are businesses. But remember, often less is better. Because if you can't get to all of it to make it work, or no one's checking things on it, whatever that is, okay? Now let's talk a little more about these things over here. I want to stay close here that you liked. Okay, you can see it. Comments about ministry websites talked about good content. Now, when you hear the word content on anything, whether it's a website or when we're talking tomorrow about social networking, content means just that. It's what what are you saying? What are you giving people? What's the content website? Good content. Some of those things are like making sure the information is current. Content, ministry messages. What are you putting on that website? Why do you need that website? What are you putting there? What's what? Yeah, what are you going to do with the website? Why do you need it? That's probably the number one question. What's the purpose of that website? It's your face to the world. Remember, we're talking ministry. But things like messages, okay? If you are a preacher, if you're a church, your content needs to include your messages. When you're preaching, some clips of because people try to figure out what you're about. Now, if you're a mission or missionary website, you may not need that. What would be more vital would be what you're doing, pictures of what you're doing, the information on what you're doing, okay? The mobile thing is a big deal to make sure that that website, what would happen?
Responsive.
Responsive design. You want to make sure when someone sign you a website for $25. These are some of the things. And if you forget the word, just remember when it looks nice on their laptop, they come up with their laptop, the jack of all trades. And they say, yes, $25. When can you meet me? Meet me at Starbucks. And they quickly say, I've designed your website, and you sit with them. Then you need to make sure you also pull out your phone and you say, let me look at it on the phone before you give me the $25. And on a tablet or iPad. So you're looking at how it looks in every setting, okay? Easy access. And these are just random things I'm going through in no order because of this. Easy access. These are tips. Oh, I told you get a lot of tips from me that are just theory. Cute names sometimes work as a web address, but make sure they can't be spelled a lot of ways. Cutesy names. Can you think of a cutesy name? No one can get right. You ever tried to visit cutesy?
Yeah, it's like in his works.org or something like that. In his works with an S. Now, or because if you go in his work, it's a different website.
Yeah.
But it's something that you don't know that that's that person's website.
Right.
There's nothing to identify their ministry with their website.
Okay. So easy, you got to be able to find it easy. Now, hopefully, the name of your ministry could be the name of the website, depending on, you mentioned. In our case, we couldn't get that. When we finally got a website, we had to go to igcenter.org. That's not too bad for you. There used to be an International Gospel Center, all spelled out, .org. Well, someone got that name in Detroit or someplace, Chicago, And so we are center.org. So think about that. That's really important, Think about your name, how you're going to do that. And they'll ask you this when you're ready to design a website, say you get someone to help you. They're going to ask you step by step. I'm just saying, look at these things that you guys feel are very important. Personality, that came up. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Content again, simplicity, action and activity. Go ahead.
Whoever mentioned personality, is that in relationship to who is part of this ministry, or does it mean have a character where the website looks different, have a personality?
I thought it meant the website.
Which was meant by that?
I think I meant the people involved. So I was thinking of when in the instructors, like you have this saying, come to this class first who's teaching of it, but knowing something about the instructor.
Okay.
There are some websites, you can't figure out who is the people. You look and look and look. It's all the name of the ministry. Who are you?
Sometimes you see their picture, their name is nowhere to be found.
See, what these are, when I told you yesterday, these are pet peeves. The reason I even teach these classes, not because I know everything, because I am the person. Remember what I told you yesterday? I'm a 13-year-old kid who said, my God, these people cast out devils. Sickness and death bow to them. They speak in other tongues. They're going to live forever. The whole world needs to know these spirit-filled people. Why they always look so sad. So you're always going to hear from me, let's put our best foot forward. Let's try to look our best. So websites are a really big deal. Now, this is interesting as we looked at this list. Let me see, things I want to comment on you about websites. If you have one, check up. I'm not going to pull up your websites. If you don't have one and you're going to get one, be aware. I suggest you use a professional or semi-professional designer. You don't have to. There are wonderful services out there. Wix has its own template. You can do it, but I'm telling you, if you don't know what you're doing, you start to look sloppy. Ministries do not need to look sloppy. Now, when it comes to designers, when I say designer, professional, semi-professional, we have people among us right here. Pastor Jonathan, don't you design websites? Brother Paul, design websites. So we have people, they don't have to be the big bucks. You're not the big bucks. Okay. You don't have to be the big bucks, but at least get some help so things look good. Reverend Jennifer, some of you know her, she's talking about color. She has one of her associate degrees or something has to do with color, knowing what color evokes what in people. What color goes together, what doesn't. It's a whole science. And so get someone who knows what they're doing. Bishop?
This may be something that you're going to mention as an alert. But because there's so many, let me help you with your website options out there. You can have a website and then you don't have a host, so no one can see it. They don't tell you that till they get you signed up.
Okay, I'll explain what she needs.
Okay, so that's an alert. And the other is those that we can design. If you like it, then you can have it. And then see how the fees for hosting then.
Okay.
So these are just things where
okay, good point, because some of y'all may not know. Let's walk through this and let's have what? An interpreter. If you get a designer for your yellow pages, anyone remember what the yellow pages are? Yeah. And the salesman comes, and it's almost time for the yellow pages. There's one guy who drove me nuts. I would get Reverend Jennifer Yeager to design our ads for the web page, for the yellow pages, a nice picture of the church, whatever, okay. That was one process. I got a design. What Bishop is saying, remember, you have to pay for that design to be somewhere where people can find it. It's called posting. So I'm thrilled because I want you to know Yellow Pages is coming out. First year as pastor, I'm stupid. I can do Yellow Pages like the white pages. You're in it automatically, right? So he comes and I say, oh yes, I have a design ready. You get called. And he says, okay, for that size design, I think we could pay $400 a month. And you know, I was like, what? That was Steve. Yeah. So that's what she's trying to say. You might have someone help you, but you have to have a whole word. And again, we can help you with that a little. I don't want to worry everyone if you don't need it, but.
And the feature, these are small alerts that help. Can you update your website yourself, or do you have to go back to that designer to do it for you? That's why sometimes the calendars are so old and they don't keep things up to date. They got caught and they didn't know how to do it themselves. Didn't have to go back to the big bucks person.
Marie Brown would say, "Amen," right about now.
So these are just little twists.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what were you going to say? I'm coming.
Another thing is make sure you own the name to your website. That someone else doesn't own that name or the rights to that name.
Mm-hmm.
Because they could decide at some time not to allow you to do, unless you pay $1,200.
So it's not very different. All you need is an interpreter. That's not very different than when you name your church, you get ready to incorporate your ministry. A good lawyer will have you search to make sure no one else already owns it. It's like anything else. You with me? Okay. Now, Corey, you were next. Go ahead.
And the ad thing, I was going to say the same thing. Your domain name is important to your website, and you have to keep that purchased, or somebody else will buy it up from under you.
Mm-hmm. So you pay.
So you have to when you buy a domain name, you need to know how much you paid and how long it's paid for, and before that runs out, you need to buy it again.
Well, they'll find you.
They will find you.
Oh no. Well, let me tell you, Red Patty. Some of you may remember last year the website was down for a while. I have told people to work with me for years with Alex. I blame everything on Alex because he's a Kevin now. But I said, I know it's my credit card. The credit card has my name, but stop making me the contact for everything. So we bought the Win domain name, which is win.org, and paid for 10 years. It was a great package. So they emailed me to let me know it was up. I didn't know who those people were. I deleted it. Another email said, you know, your thing is running out. I'm like, no, I never heard of. Who was it? I don't know who it was. Yeah. Whatever the company was. No, click. I deleted it. Domains.com. Something real I should have noticed, but I'm thinking, I don't have. Okay, that does fine. So yes, they were on me like any other bill payer. I deleted it. And then all of a sudden people start calling, what's wrong with the Win website? Well, the Win website. So I hadn't paid the bill, so it went off. Now we zoomed in and called. We were lucky no one else had gotten that spot, that name, but we got it.
Pastor, I just want to say, you said something so important earlier, and now it'll make, they'll hear it in bold print. Mm-hmm. Don't rush into these things.
Yeah. Everything.
People just rush in. If you get some counsel, experiment, learn, do some YouTube if you have to, just inform yourself so that you don't get caught and look inept or get caught with a bill.
Yes.
I was going to say, be worried if you decided to go with two. One of the issues is I had a friend that his wife was a school teacher. She went to whitehouse.com, not whitehouse.gov. And whitehouse.com was not a very child-friendly website. And so you have to be careful that you don't get something that's similar or close to an adult website, because you don't want somebody to make a mistake and go to the wrong website.
And that's that. In fact, that's why I said get some professional help and think through. So very important. Now, Bishop brought us to a point where she said, oh, I can tell you other stories too, but she brought us to a point talking about don't rush in. So some of you have websites. I think it's wonderful to have a website. I'm just, it's out that you need to think about, because we're supposed to be talking about ministry here. Now, a couple of other things that are pet peeves for me on ministry websites, and I'm going to show you one or two. Make sure the content is your own. Don't plagiarize. You shouldn't plagiarize in life at all. You're a Christian, but the content needs to be your own. Let me tell you what I mean by that. You're an evangelist. I keep trying to use people instead of just churches. You're an evangelist, and you are called to the nations. Every evangelist I know is called to the nations. That term, called to the nations. Well, but you haven't gotten there yet. But you want people to think, you know. So I'll just use one of these pictures. All the same. You take some a picture of him praying for someone. Oh, listen, one time we were looking at someone you all might know, quite famous. Dr. T.O. was still living, that's Bishop's father. And we were watching, and he said, you know, that's our crowd. And he said, look, Donna, there you go, right there. There's our. The crowd was so large, they were saying how they would have one lost and all this, and it was like, yeah, you sold that. And it's so easy to do nowadays. But also content is teaching material or words that you put out. You know what I mean? If you quote someone, quote them. Right. You know, as brother so-and-so said, but don't act like God gave you and he didn't give it to you and you're putting it on your ministry website. Okay? Again, I'm talking about ministry protocol. This may not apply to every business, etc. Ministry protocol. Yes, sir.
I was going to say that, you know, if you're just building a website, you don't have a whole lot of pictures or something like that. They do have public domain.
They do, but I'm saying don't do that in ministry. Normally, that's not a good idea. Ministry protocol is often a little different. You can buy public domain stuff more and more. Anyone who advises ministries. Yeah, you can find.
It suggests that you're ministering to those kinds.
Exactly. Ministry protocol is there's an integrity that people expect from ministries they don't expect from anyone else. They know that John Moore paints when they had the happy. No, that's not family. Does not shop with John Moore. They know they bought that picture. But with church, let it be someone on your website that doesn't come to your church. You will never get in. You know, why would you do it? So it's not illegal. It just has something to do with what people expect as integrity from ministry. You know, something funny. Sister Regina's here. She directs our after-school program. We went to the Martin Luther King parade last week as a church and our after-school program. We had I wish I had it. We had a nice postcard I designed last year, real simple, just to tell people about our after-school program, you know? And so we used some stock footage, something you can buy. Cute little kids on the front of the postcard. So anyhow, we're getting ready to go pass these out at the Martin Luther King Day parade. And I said, Lord, have mercy, those are all white kids. What are we doing with a postcard on Martin Luther King Day? At our church of all churches, the director of the program is Jamaican, the administrator is Nigerian, the pastor is African American, the music arts was Jamaican, and everything on the postcard is white kids. What'll happen? Do I care? They're cute little kids. We did nothing illegal, but people would start to feel deceived. So nothing illegal. You know, you show up at the after-school program. Oh, there's Spanish, there's black, there's a few whites, but see, but yet we did anything wrong legally. So we really want to watch that a little bit. If you put video material on your website, you know, like I said, I keep coming up with preaching because we're ministries, but there could be other things you're fundraising for or something. Do your best to have a good quality audio and video. Again, you don't want anything to look secondhand. You don't want to look sloppy. Have you ever turned, I'm not making fun of anybody, but have you ever turned to some hokey websites or hokey TV, and they're Christians and they may be saying great stuff, but it's just like, ugh, could it be a little better? Kind of like sounding choppy during a webinar. Now, when you all gave this list, I was kind of surprised that more spiritual things, not surprised, negative, I'm just saying, weren't included. Like when I said, what are some of the reasons you go back to a website? No one said because there were prayer requests, a place for prayer requests. Does anyone use that when you're on a ministry website? Interesting. Okay. No,
I receive them.
Yeah, you receive them. Yeah. If you want to know, online students, they're being goofy. Did someone say keep updated? Yes. I think whoever said updated meant general, but not so much, well, I can't put words in your mouth. I was looking for people to say, I want to be updated on what the ministry is doing. Is that what you meant, or you meant just stuff out of date? It was one of the days what you and I were thinking, yeah. But I'm also saying that people want to know where's that person, again, if you're evangelist, where will you be next? Or What's coming up? How can we pray for you? So it's not only that you can give a prayer request, but looking at ministry sites, this trip is coming up. We want you to pray for us. We want you to be involved in praying, that type of thing, okay? Now, I am going to go to a website for an exercise here. Favorite website is not the church, believe it or not, although we have a great website, I think. It's the Osborne Ministries website. Now, this is going to be over a lot of people's heads, obviously, because of the breadth of the ministry, the age of the ministry, etc. But Bishop, I didn't know she was going to even be here tonight because she leaves, as you know. I thought she left the day earlier. So I'm going to catch her. Where are you going, Bishop? No, you can go. That's fine. Thank you. You're helping. I didn't know where you were going. Yeah. So I'm going to completely catch her off guard. No, I'm going to. For our website. Yes. I'm going to catch her off guard because I'm going to ask her a question. Like I said, she didn't know. I didn't know she was going to be here. For so long, we worked on our website. We still, to this day, every week have a few-hour web meeting with our webmaster and our designer every week. When I say we, I'm talking as Osborne Ministries International. From everything, we get to ask questions, we design. Bishop, of course, directs what content should be there, what should not be there. We have been so happy that we have, by listening and growing, become one of the most frequented websites in the area of the keywords miracles, supernatural, and healing. We were the only of our tradition that lied the Catholic Church for those words. The Catholic Church gets made, millions of it. So we have a website that does what we wanted it to do. So what I want to do, the reason I said I'm going to pull it up, not because all of you all would have this website present you. I'm catching her off guard, and I'm wanting her to tell us what did you learn during this process, about 2 years, where we were designing a website to serve us? What were some of the surprises you learned? And what do you think is important on a website for a ministry that's not a church? Because we're not churches. You're not representing churches. But for us to get to that point without mega bucks, it costs us a bit, to get to that point where we are so high in that area of natural healing, we worked like dogs and rewrite, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to pull it up, but I want to use her because we have someone among us who had to go through the, Diane, what do we say, the interpretation. Because ministry, the art ministry years ago was how? Her ministry.
Faith Digest magazine.
I'm getting you close over here. That's why I love you. I'll touch you, but I want you close. So we had a publication, a magazine, a very good one. Then we went from a magazine to like an MBM, I guess you call it. Mm-hmm. A lot of you know what that is, a newsletter. Yeah. So when you have to transition that, there's some things you kind of learn.
Actually, while you mentioned that, we had a magazine, and the magazine, we were never TV people, we were never radio people. We had a magazine that was circulated in 120 nations in 3 languages, English, French, and German. And I was the editor of that magazine. We had it from 1994. We had Faith Digest magazine. And it's quite a legacy of that periodical and what it accomplished. But when I became the pastor of International Gospel Center, this was in 1988, the magazine ended because my father was willing to take it back and I couldn't do both. Isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. So it happened to be at a transition time. So that's when we began beefing up our, what we call MBM, our ministry by mail. We don't call them newsletters because they're much more than news. They're ministry, and we build relationship. If any mailing list, I encourage you to get on our mailing list. Mm-hmm. Go to our website, ask to get the newsletter. We say that because that's a term people. But just for you in ministry that do any kind of written communication, whether it's emails, whether it's something in print, often if it's verbal, face to face, you would observe so many things about how you build relationship with people you don't know, how you involve them in something that a lot of people are doing. But so what's unique about us? How you represent the world, how you represent missions and evangelism. A lot of these things you'll find our materials are so consistent because they're really purpose driven. I don't mean to play on the book title. We have a reason for everything we do. So our ministry letters began being more pictorial because it replaced the magazine, which had lots of pictures. So that's all we had until the advent of the website. And we have been through 5 generations of websites. And because we used what was available at the time, but trust me, you cannot ever, and especially with technology, you can never park. You can
So
never
that's
say,
one
oh,
lesson. That's what I want to hear. I want to glean some lessons, general lessons. Don't park. What do you mean by don't park, Bishop?
You can't just put web activity as on a checklist. As oh, finally we got that done. Pay the bill. Now tell everybody you have a website and get on to something else, a new project. You have to. That's why she's saying we meet every week. We look over our website. We keep things current. There are many things that influence what is current for us, and so these are things that. And then when, let's say, for example, the web environment that our website is developed is WordPress. To you web developers, that wouldn't mean something to you. And that is like a software platform. It does that. It helps people, designers, build websites. They upgrade continually. So for example, you start seeing these high dollar websites like Oral Roberts or like Billy Graham, or I haven't really looked at Copeland's, but these you expect people to pay good money. And you start seeing as soon as their homepage comes up, it moves. That was an upgrade in WordPress. That now you can have something that moves. It doesn't static. It doesn't have to just slide. It can move. So these kind of things, when you have to have someone who will talk to you, so that you won't know when there's something new available, and you start looking outdated.
That's one of the reasons I suggest ministries use or associate with a professional. Otherwise, you do just that checklist. I got enough to do. We have a website now, and then it's like the billboard outside the church, and a year later you're outdated and you didn't know it passed you by. Okay, what other surprises?
Now something that's a wonderful tip, and Pastor Shai will testify that this was my practice. All the time we had a print magazine. Now we have other print things. We have books and other materials that are in print. I would buy secular magazines. The wildest I could find, the broadest range that I could find, not journals, not academic things, not drab, not medical journals. They're not interested in design. Marketers, those that are trying to get people's attention and sell them something. I go through the magazines, not for the content, but for the ads. There you will find colors, you will find design. Remember when the circles started coming in? Now it's circles. You get a face in the circle. It was not circles all the time. Now we expect circles. If you have squares, you're not up to it. I mean, it's got to be in a circle. Okay.
See, most of them look blank at you. They haven't even noticed that, but that is the current. Yep. Got it. Yep.
Look at your Facebook. Something like that will keep you up to date on what people are being programmed to look for. So if it's a new design, a new color, if it's got shadows, if it's funky fonts, type fonts, all of these things, if it's straight, if it's simple, that's what she says, less is more white space. It used to be everything really crowded and it moved and you'd have to sort it. No, not now. A lot of airspace in your design. So you could look at a magazine and learn so much. Now, when you go to a website, what do? You go to websites. You just make up names and look. Or go to Nike, go to Apple, go to Amazon, go to Billy Graham, go to anything you can think of. Just take a little time. And does anybody shop online? Does anybody not shop online?
Once in a while.
Bob doesn't shop online because, okay, so we're shoppers online. How many resisted for a while? Now, once you shop online, you're going to start getting promos and they irritate you. And they're called, you want them to go in your trash. Don't put them in your trash because that's free education. Those that are paying the most to be aggressive, to come to you every day, these are the ones you want to see. They're talking about sales. They're talking about fashion. You're seeing new colors. You're seeing new swipes. You're seeing new splashes. You're seeing all things that you can integrate. Just take one little idea a month.
That's right.
And what you communicate to your friends will always be cool. It'll just be, it won't feel like you checked it off and moved on to something else.
Good. What else did you learn in this transition about that's important about web? We're going to take a break in about 5 minutes.
Oh, there's so many things. For a ministry, she mentioned it was okay, but since I was from an old ministry, this was a learning process. Our previous method of fundraising was all through either our magazine or our letter.
Now, many of you put down you wanted to learn a little more about how the internet interacts with fundraising, okay?
And so we learned over the decades how to build relationship with partners. And we have partners that have been with us for 50 plus years. And so that it testifies that our methods do build relationship. Now we go to the web and we begin shifting to have two streams through the mail for the old people or those that really, for one reason or another, can't do internet, and the internet world, which is all ages, but it becomes a new market, and even that terminology is offensive in ministry, but that's what it is. It's a new market of people. What we've discovered is that these people aren't interested in relationship. They want something quick, easy, emotional, tell me fast, help me make a decision fast. Can I push one button and get it all? Don't make me have to read a long, moving, printed sermon. Give me bullet points. Give me a couple of pictures. Make the copy brief. Make it stimulating. If you're going to tell anything, make it get my attention really fast. So we have people who give on the internet who only give once. They're not expecting to be lifetimers. So that pressure to keep that style, it never can rest. You see, with our letters, I could, if I were just focused on the old people, I could only talk about things they already know about and add a little bit of new. But because I know these internet people are going to receive this, it's got to be compatible. So we're not, when we talk about the old, it's very well explained for the new people who didn't have a clue who T.L. Osborne was, for example. So the moodiness of internet givers, ministry partners. See, I'm dealing with people because through the fellowship who are ministries and they do a newsletter and they copy the other people who have done newsletters. And they're the most boring things that I tell them. I don't even read your letter. I file it out of respect, but I don't read it. It's boring. And you would not believe, well, maybe you would, the ethical hang-ups that print reports have. But wait a minute, I haven't really done anything for 3 weeks. I need to tell people that, right? I need to tell them that event was canceled, right? As though if they don't spill their gut to everybody, they're not being ethical. Now, you tell me the last time a Kenneth Copeland or a Billy Graham had to tell you every little thing. We took off and we had to have a little rest. So we took 2 weeks and went to the Adirondacks. And so nothing's really happening right now. I have scolded ministers who act like, well, I don't have anything on the agenda for about 6 months, so I'm not going to send out a newsletter. There's money. I said, my God, there's a hurting world out there. We need money. You never have enough money.
It's true.
There's never enough money for
right.
the need.
That's right.
If you don't know what to do with the money, send it to somebody who does. But don't stop stimulating your friends to care and to remember.
Mm-hmm.
If it's nothing, remembering every seed that you planted on your last mission.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you see that's a mentality of knowing how to talk about ministry and engaging people without it being your diary. It's not a personal thing. It's the work of God.
That's right.
So that coming into the internet, we've had to learn how to do that quick because we got lots to say.
Mm-hmm.
We got to say it quick. It's got to make sense. It's got to be very, very ethical. Now, the new generation, because I told you, we've had longtime partners. A lot of them are old. The new generation, and you spoke last night, you mentioned millennials. This is an age group that are the middle to young adults. Mm-hmm. And this generation has a whole different mood. They are suspicious.
These are millennials.
These are millennials. Uh-huh. They have been, what is the age group? It's from up to 35.
Yeah.
25, 35, up to, so they're in the workforce, they have families.
Right, they're already working. That's not
the Zs are high school, still in college. The Zs are the next generation, and they're totally different.
Yes.
So the millennials, they've been disappointed. They've tried everything. They're not interested in commitment. They're very entitlement oriented. They don't trust. They've seen every scandal. They've seen every fallen preacher, every fallen politician. They don't believe. They're just suspicious. And if anything, they don't want you to tell them what you're doing. They want you to invite them to come with you, and they want to do it with you. They're very hands-on. Mm-hmm. They want to participate. They don't want to just donate so that you can go do it. They want to go with you. Totally different. Now, the Z's coming on are more like a flashback in some ways to the boomers, in that, but let me go there yet. The millennials want authenticity. Yes. They want credibility. They want a faith that works. They're sick of religion, sick of ritual, sick of the steeple, sick of most everything. Everything that they saw when they were growing up, they're just against it just for principle's sake. They're looking different, that's worth dying for. They don't want to play church. They don't want to be a so-called Christian. They want to be in the fire. Well, that's wonderful. So with all the negative that's said about the millennials, I love this. And that's what we go after. Now, the Z's are so different because they see the millennials work in groups. They're very group oriented. Facebook and all this has thrived in the millennial epoch. They work together in teams in the offices.
My immediate team is an example. Yeah. Churches over there running their mouth. They're still talking. They're happy as they can be. Everybody else wants to go home. They're just happy.
So if you give an assignment, they want to all solve the problem together. And so that's wonderful. Now, the Z's, this is where they're opposite. They want to work alone. They want to get credit for what they do. They don't want team credit. They want, of course, they still want authenticity, but there's a few of those character things. They want to work for what they have. They want to pay for what they get. So it's a totally non-entitled. I don't know where they come from or why this happens. But did you know that these social labels and categorizations are changing so fast that they say that Z will be the last generation that has a label? Because even millennials, you see the older ones are different than the younger ones in that range. And now the Z's, almost every year, they're different. So, okay, some similarities, but this reflects the changing world we're in, changing technology, changing personality, and it's a global thing. It's not just a USA thing. So with the internet, we've had to focus on the ways of shifting our thinking so that we're relating to as many different kinds of things as possible. Yep. And if you don't think that's a challenge, do it. Just do it. When you write something, think, okay, what was a young person going to think when they read? What's an old person going to think when they read? Does it make sense? Is it good English? Is it just so many questions you have to ask? Is that touching at all?
Because, and the reason I did it, we are going to take a break. I did it, number one, because of course, you know, I love this ministry, but what fascinates me, you know, I'm a Pentecostal historian. This is one of the only, I think, large ministries that has supported themselves over the last 70 years without having TV or radio or any other media exposure. So there's a certain art form here, no investments. So there's an art form. If you can make a payroll and do crusades all over the world, you have figured out something on how to keep people partnering with you. And that, in that internet, I watched her jump that internet curve and have to rethink and figure out our website and how we're going to do it. And has done it so successfully until, like I said, we have those high rankings. So that's why I want, that's fine.
This is our website?
This is our website. I've been flashing it as you've been talking. Okay. Of course, a young ministry wouldn't have all of this, but you know, we have our specials. Deacon Corey mentioned things that move. It's been flashing the whole time about the ministry. All these wonderful people, Dr. T.L., Dr. Daisy Bishop, me, yay. People you want to know about, the church, watch a whole bunch of clips, more than clips. We have entire courses there you can watch. Updated news. It's not going quick enough. I don't have a quick enough signal right here. Miracle stories, prayer. You can receive prayer. We have a vast bookstore. How you can donate, how you can contact them. And one other thing, we're going to take a break. Bishop, when someone contacts the ministry for prayer or something, who sees it?
It comes to me.
Who answers it?
I answer.
Do you hear that?
Yes.
A vast ministry.
Absolutely.
Over how many missionaries sponsored?
30,000.
How many churches built?
150,000.
She answers all of them. Why? I'm talking about websites. When you set this up, if it's not you, people, we're talking ministry, not business, ministry. And whatever you put on your website, people are seeing it as an extension of you or the ministry. She contacts. All right.
And the most important thing in this, and you touched on it earlier, but just to wrap up my comments, the only motivation for doing ministry with technology well is to really love people and to really take seriously the commands of Christ and to believe that we're here to impact our world and to make a difference, not just float along till we are floated up to heaven, but to impact our world. We're not laissez-faire about anything about our lives. So we convey that with passion. And if people can hang with us at all, hopefully they can look through any of our things and they will feel an energy. But it's not marketing. You can market to an extent, but you have to have a passion of your own. When you go out there in space and you start recruiting people, trying to attract them, please them with your words and get their attention. When you have them, you need to have something to give them.
Good.
Or do something that really is good for their life.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you. Take a break. We'll start back here at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. If you have questions at that point, we can ask these questions. That was very good, wasn't it? I want to. All right, let's get back together. Amen. I hope you all enjoyed our comments on hope you enjoyed our little discussion on ministry websites. All right, let's come back together. I hope you enjoyed our little overview of ministry website. As I said once, I'll say it 10 times. This is a survey course. So based on what your interests are and what you want to know, I'm trying to give a little bit to every area. Do you have anything else you want to ask or say about ministry websites? As we're zooming on to the next topic of internet stuff. I don't think that's what I called it. What did I call it? Internet resources, of course, that can help grow or expand or facilitate your ministry. So, of course, a website is a great one. We just want to do it right with excellence, like I say everything else, okay? Great, excellent. All right, so anything on the website before we zoom? Yes, I'm sorry, Sandy.
Yes, I just want to say this is about the Mull-Anthony website. I like the fact that they change it often, because I remember going into, I hadn't in it for a while, and I went into it and I couldn't find what I wanted right away. And that could be a bad thing for some people, but it wasn't, because it forced me to look at all of it until I look at more until I found what you're looking for.
Excellent.
But it actually made me focus on other things.
Excellent, excellent. And work with you your way. No, yes? Yes.
What is that called? Is that called? What is that?
That's a page. Rev Walter, what is heaven? Yes. Is that a page? What do we do for that? It's a page, because it's just one page on our website.
So then I think, I remember you saying it didn't cost us much. It wasn't much. But they could decide at the end of this, when it expires, that they want to raise it up a bunch of money if they want to.
Yep. Yep. I can change it. In which case, we would just do something different. Yep. But we just built that because you didn't need a lot of pages to it. Right. So we built a separate little page and put it on our church one. Anything else? All right. You guys awake?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Let's go on. These are internet tools, because we're doing social networking tomorrow. Mostly, Bob, you're going to love social networking. These are internet tools that can help in ministry. Some of you have asked about webinars. Webinars are seminars conducted over the internet. Bottom line, because you've asked, what is that term? Have you ever taken webinars for your job or further training? Yeah. So a webinar is just a seminar conducted over the internet. The people who are online right now listening or watching are involved in the webinar, because what they are seeing is my screen. They're not seeing you all, but it's a seminar conducted over the internet. That's just the bottom line when people ask. Of course, it takes all types of, what's the word I want? Takes all different types of phases, but you can take a webinar to learn how to do something. You can take a webinar for continuing ed. And mostly they look kind of like this, not this classroom. They look like a speaker presenting something, and you're seeing that speaker's notes or their PowerPoint or their keynote or their slideshow. And so you got a lot of free webinars that are out there where? In the cloud, they're out there, you know? Now, when it comes to webinars for ministry, there's a couple of things I want to say. Have any of you conducted a webinar as part of your ministry? Okay. Have you been engaged in a webinar that was ministry related, not just work or something? You ever taken one of those? Interesting.
Yes, I have.
You have, Bishop? Okay. All right. They're a wonderful tool. This is the trend I kind of see if you're on Facebook a lot, or a lot of emailing lists, which is with me, I'm on everyone's email list, is the trend, if you will. As a pastor, I'm known as a pastor. I'm registered forever and a day as a pastor. I will get an email. It'll pop up on my Facebook page, which we'll talk about tomorrow, that says free webinar for pastors. How to in 30 days or something. You know. So normally I don't take those, but the point is the webinar can be for people that you already know, like in this class, a specific thing where people are paying, or just as an idea for ministry, if you have that you want to offer, if you offer it free, like the one I just told you about, what happens normally is they'll get through about 25 minutes of very interesting stuff. You know, it's normally not goofy, it's good stuff. And then what our host will say, now, if you really want to delve into this deeper, you need my new book. Or you can sign for, and the way you do it is, and then they give instruction. So webinars can be a great tool for those you already know or involved with, who know your ministry. Could be a great tool for getting people to be a part of your ministry. All I want to say about that is it better be a real convincing topic, because if these people don't know you and you're just flashing it as PR, you know, and you better know your stuff. Webinar seminars kind of suppose that you have a clue, presume that you have a clue. You see what I'm saying? So don't say, 10 steps to grow your church in 30 days if you haven't pastored, and if you pastored and haven't grown your church in 30 days. That doesn't work, okay? Yes, sir.
I was going to say, could you create a YouTube channel or just seminars you could actually just put them on YouTube? And
you could.
Share them that way.
You could.
Have to make sure that everybody's on at the same time.
That's correct. But what people like about webinars is the exact opposite. They're wanting to garner this group together. You know what I mean? So yes, you can do things on YouTube, and many do. But if you're trying to garner a group together, minister to a group, a team, you may, there's a certain group of people you want to learn to teach something, or you want them to experience it together. And with most webinars also, bro, there's some, like I'm looking at our screen now. You guys can see it a little bit across the top here. This is a webinar. There's a question and answer. There's a polling option. I'm not using them, but where you can take a poll of the audience and find out their answers right then. There's an annotation option where you can write notes, or someone else can write notes. So it is a little more interactive than that YouTube. YouTube is a great option, but if you're trying to get this group together, so that's a webinar. Now, have you all been involved in webinars? You said you hadn't been in ministry webinars. Have you heard of other ways that ministries use webinars? You understand the concept of webinar, right? Seminar online. What are some ways that you've seen it?
Let's see, teaching topics.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do a webinar on prophecy, or a webinar on Sunday school ministry, where it's a very specific topic within a church or ministry, and they'll do it as a webinar, and kind of like a class, but they call it a webinar.
Okay, right, okay. Deacon Steve, what have you seen?
Sometimes they'll have training sessions if they have a ministry or a church that has a lot of different branches around the country. They might want to teach the media team, so all the media team will be on this webcast or webinar from wherever they're at across the country.
Gotcha. So now that training, teaching aspect, training is another one, because again, you have the beauty of the webinar of notes being shown, or a screen or something, and people can weigh in. Another thing with webinars, you can change leaders. So say, for example, I was co-hosting or co-teaching this webinar. I could do it with, let's make up someone, Davida, who's in England. And then I would hit one button and it goes over to her and she starts teaching. Another button comes right back to me. So you can have multiple panelists or hosts. Okay, other ways you've seen it used? Hey, okay. Other ways you've seen webinars used? Okay, the comments I have to say about that are very similar to the other. When you're using a webinar, be sure you have good graphics and good audio, because 90% of the time, people are stuck looking at these slides. In some options, you can get a little tiny picture of yourself, maybe in a corner or something, depending on how this is done. But they're listening to you talk for an hour, 2 hours, so your graphics need to be good, and your audio quality needs to be good. People shouldn't tell you sound choppy. Yes?
Oftentimes, if there's an audio issue when they are sounding garbled or choppy, sometimes that is on the receiving end, not on the broadcasting.
That's true, but you do your best on your end. Okay, what do you think, Rev Walter? We on? I think we're good. All right, so with web, go ahead, Rev Patty.
So you're doing a webinar on Zoom?
Now, that's where I'm going right now. Perfect. You said, you segued us in. So we, yes, love?
Just gonna say sometimes with the audio, it helps if you have like the earphones and a microphone.
That's true.
And it has better.
That's true. In fact, most webinar platforms, by a platform, I mean, you decide you want to do a webinar, you might come to me, I'd say use Zoom, which is about a minute, or some other, they will say in their little checklist, we suggest you have a nice headphone and microphone. I'm doing this. I mean, remember the thing that goes around. So in reality, a webinar like I'm doing here, most often, or maybe I should, done by an individual behind a decent computer, broadcasting to their audience. Now this brings me to Zoom is the platform. You heard Pastor Jonathan and Pastor Babette use that the other night, use that word. I guess we were asking about something. You've heard us use one of the platforms for doing webinars, one that we like. I'll say one of the companies, if that'll make sense, for doing webinars is Zoom. You'll hear us talk a lot about Zoom. A lot of us like Zoom. Don't worry, next year somebody will replace Zoom. Right now it's Zoom. And Zoom is a company, a platform, you pay for it. Well, not always. You can get some of it free. And primarily there you can do with Zoom. This is where Red Patty was trying to go. You can do meetings, or I should have put /conference calls. This might be useful for ministry. Now, how in any of our WIN classes had people's faces up there and they could see us and we could see them? That was like video conferencing. So that was called company Zoom, but we were using their meeting module. It's called meeting module. Just meeting. Yeah, sorry. MEETINGS. Don't be choppy, shy. Okay. So a meeting module is, you got people all over the world and you want them all to have input like any meeting. So you purchase the Zoom option to do Zoom meetings. One person calls the meeting, just like, again, all you need is an interpreter. You sign up, it takes 2 seconds to get through it. I can show you now, except for we're on Zoom, the minute I'll access it, I will cut everyone off. I can walk you right through it. And once you sign up and pay your $14, or there's a free option if you only have up to like 30 participants or something. And it says, when do you want to have you fill it in? Saturday at 2 p.m. Okay. And then you get a link and you send all your friends that you want to come to this meeting. So it's like a meeting. Then when they all sign in by link, which is what this is, they click the button, like free conference call when you do, then now you can see everyone that has a photo camera on their computer device. So Zoom's most elementary of putting people together is called a meeting. Now we use the meeting option for a couple of our WIN classes. Some of you remember. It was a fiasco. In fact, I noticed today of those who are registered for my class, this class, and the class that comes up. When's my next class, Sandy? I don't know when it is, but I have a class coming up in a couple of months. As I've looked, the people who were part of my Zoom meeting classes where we had, they could see them, we could see them, haven't to do anything else with me. No, I don't think it's a coincidence because I heard their evaluations. So what we tried to do, this is what we were trying to do. We were using the platform the way it was intended to be used so people can see and talk to each other, but people all over the world. And when you're trying to use it to teach and you're putting them on a big screen and the little people's faces got smaller and smaller and the sound was inferior, it just started to feel confusing. So it is good to have the Zoom meeting platform, but you would normally use it for what they tell you to use it for, which is a meeting. And then you want people to talk back and forth. We're conference meeting or conference call, because that might relate to some of you all, but with video. Very simple. You can hear each other talk. You can address each other. One person's in charge or two people. You can share your screen. Let's say Teresa's up in Broken Arrow. She's on, I'm on Skype. Some of you know what Skype is. similar to FaceTime, only a whole bunch of people and more options. So then she's on her computer looking, and I said, what you're working on? She hits a button and everyone sees her screen. I hit a button. So it is a meeting. Zoom is the company. So Red Patty was asking. Zoom also, the next level, I'm saying level, they also offer webinars, which now you know what they are. We moved to the webinar option for obvious reasons. The other was too complicated for a class. So now I don't know what these people listening are going to say, but they'll give an evaluation. They may say, we hate it because we can't see everyone's face. We like that, you know, we'll see. But it's easier on us here because of what we need to produce it. We just need one computer. We had to have everything else hooked up, recording, and all of that, too complicated. And when Janie came in this week, she said, oh, do we need the other camera? Yesterday, and I said, no, we're using the webinar, which means we just need the one computer. Yes?
And since this is what we may do in the future, we could at least promise that we'll provide microphones. If sound's all they get, we can provide good sound. We can do that.
Yes.
That's an easy fix.
Amen. The third category.
But you always need a Walter.
Yeah,
TV
Yeah,
goes
they
off.
can, it's the television ads. The third category of Zoom, when you hear people talk about Zoom offerings, are classrooms, known as Zoom rooms. Isn't that cute? Zoom rooms are the most expensive. A Zoom room is what we were trying to jury rig the meeting to do. It's designed for a class. If some of you went with us, you in October, you saw the Zoom room. So another, you set up a Zoom room, they give you the things you're supposed to buy, certain types of computers, certain types of mics that hang, certain types, so that you would be in a classroom like this, you can still see all the people, they can hear, you can hear, it's perfect. Mwah. That's after you spend some money on all the equipment. But if you were doing that like a university, as like ORU or a ministry training Bibles, it's worth the investment for less than $4,000 or $5,000. You can set up for a Zoom room, a Zoom classroom, and anywhere that professor or that instructor walks, it picks up. You're not limited, you know. You can hear the students, they raise their hand. That's beautiful. It's wonderful. So Zoom is the platform. And like I said, they have 3 offerings. Now for ministry, Pastor Jonathan, I'm gonna put you on the spot for a minute. You all said you were Zoom a minute. What were you and Pastor Babette using this for?
Our Shabbat service, so we were doing worship and our blessings and teaching.
Gotcha.
So what we were using were the big speakers and the sound was kind of wow, you're doing it in art. It was good for when we actually just had silence and we spoke. It was okay, but we're not going to use it again. Walter suggested that we actually use Facebook Live
for that.
And then we can actually push the button to post it, and then we can download it and put it onto YouTube.
Gotcha. I think the best use of Zoom is when you need interaction. If you're saying something, Paul made a comment about YouTube the other minute. If you're just saying something you want people to watch and they don't have to interact, I don't think that's bet. And we're going to show you that.
Is there a difference in the quality whether you pay for Zoom or don't pay for Zoom?
Not on what they give you. It depends on your equipment. You can pay the Zoom package that's $59 a month, and it just gives you more people. You're allowed to have up to 1,000 people, but you can still have crappy equipment and not be heard well. You could have the free package. So their packages how to do it, how many people and what you're doing, not the equipment. They don't supply the equipment. Yes, Bishop?
I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned this and what that would entail. And you mentioned microphones, cameras, computers on this end. What about on the international end? People in their houses and their churches. If we're in Zoom room invested, does it improve what they see here, how they interact in any way?
I'm going to say from what I've heard, Rev Walter has something else. We've been trying to research this. If they have that is inferior, going to have problems.
Okay.
The design of the Zoom room or the Zoom classroom is that the initiator has all the proper equipment, you know, and then that the student on the other end has a good iPad or a model.
So theoretically, let's say we had satellite classrooms and
right.
we invested for the Zoom room equipment in every classroom.
Mm-hmm.
People travel to those rooms with the same level of equipment. In that case, it would fulfill all that you've described.
Right.
Is that?
Yep, that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm.
We have a internet keep going off, not from us, the internet provider, sometimes it provides.
Are our students still okay?
They haven't said anything yet.
I don't think so.
I don't know if that's good or bad. See? So here we are in the middle, and with our wired internet and everything, we lost the signal. We didn't do anything. Oh.
Oh, was that supposed to say plug in on the other? Oh, is that one you're plugging in?
What's this?
I lived with these men practically for years and years and years. So, Rep. Patty, you were the one that asked about a webinar. So, webinar itself is a seminar conducted on the web. A company or a company that would facilitate that would be Zoom, but there are other companies. What was that one you said the other night? GoToWebinar. I hated that one. We had a hard time with it, but so it's like any other service. There's different providers. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So that makes sense.
So these recorded webinars that you guys say that you watch,
you
know, so is that good quality?
Everyone I've watched is excellent quality, but I'm saying because they're mostly
companies, okay.
John Maxwell kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
And Paul's talking about the internet. What they can do is they can download to YouTube, so that even though you can't be part of it, you can watch a replay.
Yeah. Now that's what we're doing in this right now, but I didn't want to confuse people on that. Okay. Anyone else questions on Zoom or webinars?
So if we wanted to do a ministry and do a teaching to another country, say India.
Okay.
Would be the best to do it. Zoom or Facebook Live?
It depends. Everyone will have an opinion. I could pass the microphone around. The boys, maybe a small picture of the instructor and the slides. So it's more of an educational setting. Maybe that's why you want to see the slides. Yes?
The webinars that I've attended, and I don't know about you, I'm busy working while I'm listening.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised if quite a lot of people are multitasking.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
taking in the audio. If it was video, you'd have to behave.
Right. Okay. Good. All right. Now, I want to zoom because I want to get to something before we go. Yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you were talking about interpretation, back in the old days, the preachers would actually broadcast maybe live or something like that. But they would always take their sermons, you know, so if somebody wanted to listen to it later on.
Sure.
So YouTube's like the new cassette tapes. You can go back and watch everything that's been recorded.
Sure, sure. Now, Zoom, since you brought that up, I'm glad you did, has an internal recording device. So everything we're doing now is being recorded to this. I can decide what to do with it afterward. It might be on YouTube, in our case it is. It could be on Facebook, it could be never used again. It can be used again. It is recording everything. Not just voices, recording the screen.
Do they all record?
Each one, no, you have to do your work and see your research, you know. But I can tell you, I've narrowed it down. I've gone ahead. Your best bet for this is Zoom. Yeah, because the price too. Yes, Anna?
Now the free Zoom has a time limit.
Yeah, 45 minutes, I think. Yeah. That was another thing. Don't go too cheap. You get what you pay for. Here I'm jury rigging everything. Reb Walter following along with me happily. He's so easy. And I'm jury rigging everything. So I'm trying to have a win class using the free Zoom option. These poor people in Germany and stuff are going in and out because we don't have a strong enough. I didn't need to be space. They didn't need, but it looks on to have a in their pajamas countries. Waving at each other, and the thing is out of 40 minutes. If you're not just, everything gets started again, 45 minutes. You get what you okay. I want to zoom two things home. This is very important. Now, someone said, it says the internet is unstable. No, we're one listen. Someone word live streaming. Let's back right down. If said to you, you just called this and said, hey, we're live streaming event tomorrow. What we're talking about? What would you mean?
It's being brought to the same occur.
Very great. What else do you think? Think on Facebook. Stream is, as Mom said, a fine stream of simultaneously recorded and broadcast in real to the viewer. Basically means live. Now, the reason you are or you watch, or you need an interpreter, television, TV, what is it on? Channel 2, showing my age, 224, whatever, 246. Live stream, but how are the people to see it? Now, we at the use Facebook live stream our services, other events. The problem is saying any of you that you can pick it up now and Facebook page or Facebook and right there it says post, it says I did it, camera's on and everybody's seeing you. What's up? Just made a channel 18. But in general, go live. But you see, live is an act of doing something. Facebook is a good place to put. YouTube, you can also do this class is being live to YouTube. Okay? So there's lots of 2, 3, 7, 11 where you can hold the stream. But you have a device that will doing this because I'm on my phone. You know, you see our big camera behind the camera, but you your phone. You have to method for streaming. Not use that. I don't think it's that. I think you could do stream looking at something. But then you have to have a device or platform to do it. Okay. Comments on live stream. Again, I want to give you something. How many of you stream events? Oh, occasion live stream. South Dakota ministry did several. In fact, most of the team right there. That we go to Dakota, Sioux Nation, in many now, and so it's a part of the mission, churches, faiths, and others for many times a year. From this, I can tell you that we don't have. But here's the point: when they might air on their often live stream to the Facebook page, we're getting, we've arrived, wonderful people. So live is report for ministry. Good people, maybe people decide, or just live stream, here the restaurant, drive us. But ministry, remember the purpose for what we do. Yes. Okay, what to say about it?
Well, when we did this last time, there's a on there and I've never before. It's ad. if you're on the comment section right by there, you say add and the edit. Like everybody's surprised, but then they become a lot there. And then you hear comments that I didn't know because I thought she's talking about her, talking, and so I had to cut her off.
And maybe I deal with things
a little, but that was kind of you can how many you could words would be around whatever.
Oh,
just be sure
it does that. You know, look, you
who are listening line talking about methods of a stream in a car on the way to a mission trip at a service. Pastor Jonathan. The question is live stream to it's the same as any platform, and you correct me if I'm wrong. Before you get a live stream, it's taking you a live streaming through. Huh? We didn't want to go to Facebook, and you all know, right? Service live stream, so we want to. You all this. Keep it on something free. Not doing it to Facebook because that's our whole. YouTube we're live there, and when promoted it, set the privacy. You know, YouTube privacy set to unlisted. So in other words, everyone can see, but it's in it for our YouTube channel. And the link that was generated into our own people, because he thought they'd have better in Africa getting you to work than so watching it on our YouTube because they enlisted. So that's another place you can watch streams. And that was time forever. It's changed. So live streaming, again, something called stream. A lot of churches use. Lots of channels you can stream to, that you can stream to. The freebies are Facebook, YouTube. Yes?
Rob saying the audio is really bad the last 5 minutes.
Okay, Roz, we heard you said the audio has been horrible the last minutes. Is it? Tell me if it's better with me behind it. I'm coming, sweetheart. And what's next? Pastor.
Facebook private group streaming to Facebook.
Yeah. Pastor. I understand. Now, I'm not your question completely. I would spend a lot of time on Facebook. Does okay? So you're right, but live stream of settings. If you're a man and you're doing a service, we ask you don't limit it, and you're paid. You want the most people watch. You can't go to a private group. We did that before. You and lots of settings. So yes, you can do it. Went to it more detail. So my dear friend.
Okay, because it is a private group too. The people that are before the link to it, I couldn't tonight.
Yes.
I can go back and
what Danny is asked about, we are safe. Remember we talked and backup hours. So it's saved to the computer. It's also being streamed and on YouTube. When you get your letter to every class, so Roz, we just find our internet connection is unstable. When you all get to follow up next week, have a link's going to send you to YouTube. And so yes, everyone for the class have private YouTube and you can begin and watch. But you understand what live stream is. That's the first here. To talk more about how to do it on a Facebook, etc. But you got to get what it is. Okay, Patty?
So the YouTube part is going to be good.
Hope so.
I mean, that's what normal.
The same thing. The same thing.
It's just recording.
It's just recording.
So it's fading in on Facebook.
Not necessarily, because he read picking me up. This might be fine. Pastor Rob, they may be having a problem. Look at me. You see what I mean? But it's picking you. Well, no, about an hour of the night, we'll be able to. Okay, good. All right. So stand with love. I mean, this again. I want to have action, and we have one night that's important. What else in ministry use live streaming for? Because what live streaming is? Again, this is what other thing live streaming useful for ministry? Prayer, sure.
Crusade.
Anytime public, state, or event. Because remember, live stream for ministry normally is you most number of people. Okay, you're not a small class in that setting. It could be. In general, you want people to see it. Live streaming is live TV. You who act on TV. People are not talking. They're not giving comments necessarily. But the idea, look at me, looks.
Some of these churches have satellite facilities, and I assume they use.
Yes, they do. Yes, have something we built very good, but that's the concept of streaming. Same time, real time. It's brilliant. It's wonderful. Do you know first live stream was? Because I asked you what ways you might use it for. Remember, I'm the buyer. I was sitting in my office, and it was a Saturday morning. We were having a festival. Rep was in charge of it. It was one of these things, something. We were buddy doing something. She was in charge. We had a yard fundraiser. So my office doing weekly webinars, and here I subscribe to the Facebook, and they said Facebook has just rolled out streaming. I said, I'm going to try. I run outside, and with my phone, giving instructions how it works, and without, I come on and say, hey, Facebook family, right here, as you can see, we have coolest, start doing my stuff, and I say, if you're in Tulsa, down, you can buy, what is this, Patty? Talking around, talking, like, what is doing? Huh? Maybe I don't know, because Punk's been doing this for a few years. I did Punk recently. So I'm saying at one of the answers to the question on what you use live stream for, that also is organized service to let people doing. You were out giving money on the highway. You know the sign. People used to get off the highway, and they used to homeless will work. Your sign said, people believe it. It was a winning thing for live streaming. Yeah, and they were giving money, not my job or so. And so as people on the highway, they were open, as they were giving them, sharing, or telling them about the guy. It was so creative, the streaming. They could have just done video, but it's more in real time. And then they told where they wanted to come on down. And so create is the name of the live stream. Standing in the concept of live stream. Tomorrow we'll go at some things on how you use it. But the concept is to generate excitement, perhaps unity. You mentioned another church all at the same time. Live streaming has a winner. And tomorrow I hope your team can join us, because I want them to have some, because your team, they live stream with or for us every week. So it would be going to get some 2 cents what you do or do on live stream. But we on our Sunday service, and when gathered, which is Sunday night. We do not Thursday night, because I don't think it lives well. I'm not a teacher, you can't hear any this kind of stuff. What? Sunday morning is very easy to, okay? You think of streaming? Good. Thing I want to do before we go. A couple of people in have asked about podcasts. I want to cover, she's also leaving on in. Many of you who are listening, I'm getting a constant indication that our internet is unstable. There's not much we do, I'm sorry. Podcast. How listen to podcasts? Okay. Okay, good. We're going to define it. Here's the definition. A podcast is a digital audio. Now, sometimes video, but forget it. Digital audio made available on the internet for downloading to a computer or mobile device, typically as a series. New installment can be received by subscribers automatically. Now, to read a long explanation, you who use podcasts, explain what your podcast is. What do you
I have listened to podcasts on things, but for example, Ziegler Corporation used to be weekly podcasts. You could listen to training, whatever that happened to be a week, and it was 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay, so you heard him say, please see today. Who else listens to podcasts? What you listen? Joel has a podcast. And what is his content? Every week, every. Okay. But they listen to podcasts. That Beth, another Christian speaker. How often? Every week. Hey, who's the podcast? Okay. So here's the podcast. Everything else, different shapes and what makes podcast is content, lots of stuff. It's a book, but they're in series. It's not a one-time podcast, so one can subscribe to. Now, this is not a computer, I forgot to show you, but for example, I subscribe to Laugh. My podcast, History, Scotland, and all that. So, week there's a new episode, and I have subscribed to it, so it's free. So not only listening to it, it's 3 minutes, but then every week when I do one, I get a mail or notification, and I listen to the next. I also subscribe to American Short Stories. I love American writers, and every week I put a new one. It might be Martin or something. So, okay, Sandy, you need to have a praise or what, okay. No, you haven't yet, I want you. You do as a podcast, is that you, Sandy? What's that? So normally podcasts are audio. I'm going to show you 2 seconds before. They are all something. You subscribe, it makes them unique, sequentially subscribe. Now, what Joel do, he might have multiple podcasts. He would do a book, for example. I go through that book. And so I listen to it, reading it, or just, and it would be maybe about a book. A series of TVs. Universities my podcast. So it's real content, people download it. So now you see a critical home, but on a podcasting. Now that's data famous, in her health now. And you can subscribe or not subscribe. Hey, you're not paying different. Okay, I want several of you to up to you, D.
Question, where do you find it?
Okay, it depends now. I'm going to I'll show you a place. Bishop had a podcast. One, it would be her website, so you would notify. But lots of tools you can look for podcasts of libraries. That's called that material, right? iTunes is one. Our win. What is our win? Sandy? What is our website podcast and stuff? You can subscribe. I Karen Book. She subscribes, and every time after the gap, she gets a reminder to have a new podcast. Okay. I was going to find. Okay, Apple Podcast. Say it again. You said something there. Okay, so Apple Podcast. On your, if you on your, yeah, on your that's why I said I got, it's not mine. I would go on my phone and find what I was for. But just okay. This is thank you. This is Apple on podcast. resources. Okay. What I wanted to show is, oh boy, and sell your, and you can enhance that. I want to show you can find discovering podcasts. Okay, here we go. What topic you want something about? Okay, fundraising. Okay, fundraising. Computer. Okay. How about you know about something you should know? Click either. Yeah, I'm trying to get one to click. Well, I'm Googling podcasts about fundraising. Any solutions here? Oh, yeah, a couple. Good. So I just put it. 8 nonprofit podcasts on fundraising. All right. Listen, see, you would set for free, and then you would this podcast. I don't know who these people are, I'm not recommending, I just Google. And every week they're giving you an episode on understanding fundraising for nonprofits. Okay. So normally your favorite line, Pastor Jonathan mentioned Apple. I would normally get a podcast, a little app on my phone. But my sister was saying, a little app. And then I search for what I like, English, whatever. Now, here's what I want to conclude with, and it's going to take us over a little bit, give you the time in the morning. It's going to take about 10 minutes over. The reason I'm doing it, because Bishop was wanting to know about podcasts. I have a little 10-minute clip that I want to show you that explains how podcasts might be used for ministry. So remember, we started by asking what podcast, and that's something you subscribe to that I think is almost like radio. For me, when I try to do interpretation, it's kind of radio. All radio, kind of like radio, used to have episodes on radios. Only 2 people. And you couldn't wait. Next one came, and then it was started. It kept going on and on. Podcasting is one of the greatest tools ministry could use if used correctly. Many things like that. So I want you to hear this podcast of podcasting ministry. And I said in 10 minutes over, we'll pick it tomorrow. Okay. There it is. I think young woman, I know her. I think she does the best job explaining podcasts.
Ads.
Yeah.
Ministry for you to be able to market your ministry, to take it to the level and take it to people, because that is what we are them to build. So today we're going to talk about the power of hosting your own podcast or video show. This is specific to those that are interested in doing something faith-based, but this information is great for any that may have a business take that's not. No. Well, their power, their hosting, producing their own show. The reason why I want to do this show is a lot of people have asked me over the last months, and so I said I'm going to those answers. So let's go ahead and we're going to talk about power of
take this because she's going to give some new concepts. I love her because of all, but she's a normal Jack like us, or podcast her ministry, and she gives. So you might want to take tomorrow. We discuss it, okay? Come on, Jane.
I became aware of the ability to host my own show in 2009, and that I was actually to be a somebody show. My book was a lady, which is a book about dating life, and used some of my very experience with that. And I excited about it. And then I found this thing called Talk Radio. I was there. I do my own show. And I actually started with a show where I actually pulled in multiple guests to talk about overcome dating violence. Because that was my platform at the time in my life. So to fast forward to 2018, the Tamika Hall Radio has been going for 4 years, giving the ability to be known in terms of having a show that is legit. I should give it say. But God shipped me with my direction. And I began to look at my website to make a whole. I was looking at I had this podcast. I realized I've written books, pushed it this way, and people need things but no visiting no. And as a fact, December, I did my stats last wow, we had 1,411 people visit .net. At the time, I had several other web properties that had garnered well over 60,000 views. And what is the, why are people on the website? If I'm not visiting my website, you couldn't tap into the t-shirt that I designed, things, and I'm like, more than just the voice. But God down, basically he showed me his God strategy, which was that passing was going to be able to reach a multitude of people, because there's always industry would be global. In January this year, I launched the Explosive Arts Podcast because I knew that God wanted me to begin teaching about worship arts, that what we do as worship, it should be more than just saying, people in or singing or acting. I launched the Explosive Arts Podcast in January. Let me just get into perspective. December, I had 60 views on my website. For the entire year, I had over 1,400. I launched my show in the middle of January, and I started the podcast, interviewing really great people that felt the same that about work. And at January, which was about a 2 week, I had 4,000 people visit my website. Not just 4,000 people that just have been viewed this for over 4,000 visitors around the world. February, that increased 5,025 unique people that visited. March, I had 8,507 people. April, I had 9,055 people that unique people around the globe came to my site because I was doing something they wanted. So what is where the podcasting? First, podcast my number one. I understand, and have the traffic. I'm able to do other things, but it's the number one to drive traffic to my website. And I firmly that we're producing content that people, we able to make a living. People don't want to have to work everything. And honestly, because a lot that we've learned, we've acquired, we just simply the internet, or trial and errors. I do agree that some things you don't have people, you can put a map on something. I'm telling people love free content, and it makes them want to even. So when you give them you, and you great gifts, so plus incredible guests also have audience, right? You have your own audience. Your guests will come with their own unique. So believe in that. That is going to produce traffic for you, and that's great, especially if you're a ministry. If you have a business, you need traffic, people to know that it exists. That is one of the powerful things about using your own podcast for a show. The second thing is really looking at the speed of staff. I know it doesn't make any sense. I love it. Your podcast is literally, it gives you an opportunity to have a virtual free mechanism for reaching people around the world. Because of the podcast, and I know this, like I have a phone app connected to the podcast, so people are able to write from their phone. I have people that do my show in Asia, in Russia, now in Italy, Australia, Nigeria, just the names of the countries popping at the top of my head. The United States, and clearly the United States. But allows you to be heard and to know doing what is important, and the fact that being a show or your podcast about your, so it's at the speed of, like I said, it can be almost for you to have your own. It's really not as people live. The third thing, I just I want to top three. Third reason why casting or radio shows is so powerful is because it allows you to establish credibility. This gives you the ability to be known in your fields, somebody as expert. So, for example, when I wrote my book, Love is This, which is a guide to a dating Bible, from that past, my is now distributed around the world, used actually in driving call facility. I wrote it for teens, adults are reading them, utilizing it. How counts using that, used in teen violence ages around the as well. And that really because I myself as an expert. Only did I have a written, I was interviewing another expert who could also give their opinions about what we do for that. So when you're a ministry, this is that you need people to know you for. You know, I want people to understand, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to arts. More than me just standing in front of people or sitting behind the radio, just speaking about it all the time. I love joining other worship ministers because we can learn together. It's really a good mechanism. So what is it that are you thinking about the fact that you drive traffic? Because I perfect example that I had 3 people visited my personal website in December, and now the top of it, and I garnering at this point I'm averaging 3,000 visitors each. So we today and have that for you need to market business or your ministry. This is market seed of sound. So it's your opportunity to do what you're doing. Then you get to the people. Really, at the end of the day, kingdom building. And I love it, my Monica, so time is about noise. The kingdom. So that's what this is all about. Is that what you're willing to do? And when you're able to do it, you also monetize your podcast. And that's something I talk about, but you can monetize that. Are willing to pay for time. When you're showing, you can show that you actually have a face. I mean, I don't think that it should be that. I think that if you can ask about your past, you can do a radio show around your past. I think that it's monetized will come. I think it's important to think about business standpoint because podcasts and being a person produce it can money. If you know what you're doing, it should cost you an expense. Are you going to test your credibility? You know, you a minister and you got as called to go around and to speak and to help the ministry, but they don't know how yet. What you need to understand, you need to expand each of your. Are you where you go? And need people to know even exist, right? Need people to understand that know what you're talking about and are actually you've written right? Are those some of the things that I have in the class? How to create your own space radio podcast. So it's going to take place taking place at the end of May 27th. We will be holding the very first class, only opening up to 10 people. So if this is something interesting to you, we'll take how we make it so that for 100 listeners, none of my, that really, it was a God strategy. And so if you put that strategy to gain to market ministry business, then I'm encouraging this class. Okay? So opening it up to people, the first is complimentary. So opening it up to people, this class will be for a small fee. For the first time, I'll offer it to motivate or willing to read the class and actually do something and get podcasts and ready. So then you have the power of hosting your own podcast and show. I think that this enlightened for you. I had a really time being to with you. So next time, stay inspired, motivated, say, make sure to www.
Okay. Now, we're not discussing time, but I just want attention to something. Again, I chose her because I think she's just a simple name. Really explain how she used to cast in the gateways, we'll touch her. But I also chose her. She was explaining that you a webinar. Did you follow what she did was a webinar? See how she followed the model? They get enough info, and then she do something. So you see how webinars work, but we need a lot because of simplicity. See, none of us learn from Joel Osteen podcasting. Most folks don't know about Joel Osteen, Bishop, of course, knows me well. He was a mogul for years before anyone knew what he was. He was the success behind media business, industry, TV shows and stuff. So for him to do a podcast, he would be from us. She gave some ideas about how would a person known podcast. That we're going to discuss tomorrow morning. And because I told you the time was 9:30 tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. 9. So keep your notes. Don't lose some of the. She gave some pieces on the podcast helpful for body. I don't know that. That's horrible. For someone in me, it's not well. 1 minute. 9:30. 5. Yeah. But we always lunch break. The is open, not cooking. Well, yeah, we have 2 more days if you lunch with you. It's supposed to be a day, I think, from 2. So we always have an hour for lunch. Mm-hmm. Good. All right, everybody. Gracias por on your left. Gracias, Jesus. Your love and blessing. Thank you for being listening to us. Thank you for when we came to me. We say you brought us here. Thank you, Lord. You've given us homes to go. There's the opportunity to have interest in something that will change our hurting world. And we need every piece. May my brothers and sisters, may we be well tonight. And Lord, we reach to what Bishop. Thank you. He heads out tomorrow and over to wonderful Kenya in Liberia. Thank you, Lord. You're always with her. Angels are always with her. Give wisdom in anything that she pull up something she didn't know. I thank you for wisdom way beyond your true experience. Lord, thank you that she brings the peace and the love that win and the salvation and healing she needs right now, Lord. Thank you when she goes to Liberia, her eyes are open to see what she needs to see, she needs to just, so that event we're planning would be the most successful and dynamic. Bless her and bless her now. Of course, bless you in Jesus' name. So the door will open at 8. Yes, what time is the door? 7:30. But starting until you are online, God, we love you. We'll see you, hopefully, see you tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. I was